Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Sal joining you once again for another episode of our Perception Therapy podcast. Today is January 3rd, 2017. This is our first podcast of the new year. Hope everyone celebrated well. No incidences, I hope. It's a tricky time of the year not to get injured by other people's carelessness. So it's just that everybody's in the cheerful mood, and they use that as an excuse to pardon their negligence. Otherwise, everything is good here. Our guest had to back out today, so he will be joining us tomorrow. We will be coming back at you tomorrow with episode 33. But I didn't want to leave a live link just dangling in the air, so here I am trying to fill in. And it's just a little bit more interesting when you kind of pull the trigger last second and you don't have anybody. You had ideas that you were coming in with the guests, the reason for their visit, and then that goes out the window, and now here we are. So, just talking about some good things in the new year, some of the holiday celebration that we partake in here in Puerto Rico. We still have our lights up, and we will leave those up until Three Kings passes. Very interesting celebrating here. We were here last Christmas, but my wife and I were childless since our daughter was in Miami I believe she was in Miami for Christmas. If not, she was in New Jersey. She travels a lot, and it's tough to keep track. Sorry. So my wife and I were alone, and chances are we were either at the beach or at the river, grilling as we normally are, or just enjoying the water. So something a year round that you can get into here because it doesn't get very cold. I think the chilliest it got a couple days ago was 64 degrees over the morning, and it has almost the same effect as in Miami. Everyone reaches for the thickest jacket. Sorry for the noise. Truck is going to be passing. Can't really help that here. We live on the main road. Sidebar. So for anyone who's following the podcast, we have had some activity going on in the fields across the street, where the horses normally will come in the morning. They hang out, they eat the grass and the hay. And the neighborhood people come here to get the grass and hay for their horses and feed them. So it's pretty cool. Hi, viewer. How are you? Don't know where you're seeing it from, but hope all is well. Feel free to submit questions if you have any. The farm that owns the land on the opposite side of that field purchased, or I guess finalized, the deed for the field in front of us where the horses gather, and they started fencing it up. We thought we were going to lose the tree swing that we have across the street, and much to our surprise, the trees that were planted in this field by one of the relatives on the street are protected trees on this island in Puerto Rico. It's called the ceiba tree. They get very, very large, and they are, I don't want to say sacred, but yeah, protected is the right word. They're protected trees here, and this relative planted 5 or 6 trees in sporadic areas of the field so that they couldn't claim any one area. This land has been here since before these farm companies bought up the surrounding areas. Dole at one point was owners, and whoever purchased them is now owners of all this land. They grow pineapples here. They grow bananas in the next field. They grow all kinds of stuff in this area. So they were trying to kidnap this field from the residents of this neighborhood, and luckily, thanks to some foresight and trees that were planted about 15 years ago, we were able to keep our family's tire swing that we put when we got here. So all in good news. He's now cleaning out the field, and it's funny how things that pop into your mind, people say that you actually do create the world around you. I've never really felt that to be true, but I'm seeing more and more of it. and I hate using the word premonitions ever since that movie came out with Sandra Bullock. But that's, pretty much what they turn out to be, right? You think about things, you actually see visual images in your head, and then, like deja vu, they come true further down the line. So one specifically, before moving here, my wife and I were still in the limbo of whether or not we were going to be moving here. And she had come for a visit one year, and I was in New Jersey with my father at the same time. And she was describing the field across the street. I hadn't seen it yet, even though we had video chatted in certain parts of the island. She couldn't video chat here because signal was terrible, and it remains to be so. So if we drop out of this hangout and I come back up later, you'll know why. It's because the Wi-Fi went down again, or we lost power. Just natural occurrences here. We've kind of learned to live without, constant power. It's not really a big deal. Blacked out the island a couple months ago in October. Since then, we've had rolling blackouts since they've been updating the system. Nothing too serious. So, yeah. Our guest today had to back out. He was coming in to talk about some exciting news he has going on in his program for the school that he runs, a jiu-jitsu school in Miami. And we were going to be recapping UFC 207 together. But since he's not going to be here, why don't we go ahead and talk about, holy shit, Ronda Rousey getting knocked down in 47 seconds. That was pretty brutal. A lot of speculations can be made, and a lot of comments can be made by people who don't participate in the sport. I've been an avid fan. It gives me no right any more than anybody else, but yeah, it was pretty bad. Amanda Nunes crushed, proceeding to say the least. Amanda Nunes displayed a lot of power and speed and crushed Ronda Rousey. For those of you who did not see the videos, they were all over Twitter because the fight was that short that people were broadcasting live, and it ended that fast. Rousey lose before to Holly Holm. She got that head kick knockout in the second round. That was obviously very bad for her career. This, I don't see how it helps, except for the fact that she gets to show her true grit and come back again if she so chooses to do so. And we'll see if that happens. But other than that, a night of good fights. Cody Garbrandt took the title away from Dominic Cruz. I actually was very shocked to see that fight play out the way it did. Dominic Cruz has been dominant for about a little over 8 years now. Incredible footwork and dynamic movement makes him really hard to hit fighter. And this kid did his homework, man. Coming out of grade school can't hurt too much, right? You're used to doing homework, and he did it, and studied the fighter to his ability and exploited weaknesses. It's hard to hit somebody who's moving around, but if you bring that target to you, a la, and now names are escaping me, Tyron Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, same kind of strategy. Woodley's was a little bit more staying to the cage, whereas Garbrandt was staying more to the middle of the ring, or the octagon, I should say, and made for a very interesting fight. A lot of other good fights throughout the night, none of which come to mind. But that was going to lead into our segue for the school that he has going on. I'm not going to break that news for him. He's going to do that tomorrow. So I guess we'll just check in for this podcast, make sure everybody's doing all right, and wish everyone a good year this year, and get busy. There was some things I wanted to talk about. Yes. Okay, so Puerto Rico Lacrosse still alive and kicking. We are having our Three Kings Classic in Boynton Beach, Florida on January 7th, this weekend. I will not be in attendance, unfortunately, but the other organizers and coaches will be there. This will be an assessment to assess players who will be eligible for the roster for the 2018 World Games. I guess would be the best term for that. Puerto Rico descendants, Puerto Ricans who do not live currently on the island, they are attending universities in the States, therefore learning lacrosse, therefore able to compete. And that is what this process is just, assessing the players that will be eligible for that. So female assessments are also going on at the same time. So if you know a female lacrosse player of Puerto Rican descent, please let them know. Check out PuertoRicoLax.com for more information. And that should have all the registration links and everything you need to be on top of that. On the island, Puerto Rico Lax had its first public school appearance the Friday before they let out of school in December. And we are finalizing return plans to the same school and to surrounding schools. So it's, hopefully the tidal wave we need to really launch this program here on the island. That way in the 2022 games, we can send a team of Puerto Rican born, Puerto Rican residing, Puerto Rican representative to go compete for the island. That would be a very big deal. If any of you watch the Olympics, you know about Monica Puig, I believe is the pronunciation of her last name. I could be wrong. Don't crucify me. But there was a lot of static here with the general public, being that she was not raised here on the island. So, yeah, a lot of pride for her, but everyone kind of wore that off pretty quickly. The track runner, who I can't remember his name at the moment, sorry, I don't follow runners, cross country or racing or anything like that, so it's hard for me to pin those names down. If it was fighting or any other sport that I followed, would have been much easier. But there were much more on his side because he was actually raised here on the island, lives here currently, and they seem to be way more supportive of the on-island athletics. So that's what our goal is to launch lacrosse here island-wide and make it a public school, private school activity that they can participate in. They've done it with several other sports, and they look to increase. Hopefully I can get the athletic director that I dealt with on the podcast as well, so he can give his take on what he saw with the kids in his school. But so trying to raise awareness there, trying to grow the game, and we did get a platform to do that. So we just wanted to say thank you once again to Somos del Carmen, Playa de Ponce. That was the school that invited us out, and their kids did extremely well. I think I was dealing with mostly 5th and 6th graders, and they did very, very well. The kids were very enthusiastic. Matter of fact, why don't we cut to some video? You won't hear any images. You won't hear any sound, but at least you can get. And there was a promo video cut of this, but I won't play that for the fact that it may get back down. Let's see. So here's a good one. And let's minimize that and show you that one to you. I'm looking at that one. Oh, here we go.
Casi, muy bien.
So this is the kids playing for. All right, let's mute that. I can't stand the sound of my own voice. I don't know how you guys are still listening. But these kids were doing extremely well. Obviously, their school is concrete. This is the basketball court that we're playing on, the cathedral in the background, and that building that just got hit by the lacrosse ball is the cafeteria. And over to where the left, where these kids are standing, this is the stage area. So we were playing between those areas, trying to do our best not to break anything, not to get anybody hurt. This was one, and I believe it was that little boy right there. He was the only one that had ever played with a stick before, a lacrosse stick. And one of his cousins is in the United States. He plays for, the school is escaping me. It's not a Division I school, but nonetheless, he plays in the United States. So this kid actually knew what the game was. So he was extremely excited. these kids all did extremely well. That's the athletic director in the background that we just passed. And they took to instruction very well, as most kids do at this age, when they want to learn something. Try to get them to do homework, and that's a different story at that age. But get them into something they don't know about and they're interested in, or their friends are showing interest in, and it's like a fire you can't put out. So, I had a lot of fun doing that. After that, I went ahead and got in goal for them, and put the goalie helmet on, chest protector, pulled out the foldable goal. Here I'm pushing them back because they were taking shots at me from right where this kid is, we're in the blue shirt. So I had to push all of them back, and let's go ahead and skip along here. And there's the goal. They're lining up. Everyone's taking shots. They were having a great time. I was so scared we were going to break those windows on the cathedral that, I was terrified. I kept telling the athletic director we should go the other way, towards that back wall you see with the mural on it. His response to me was, well, there's a forest behind that wall, and if you throw the ball that way, you're not going to find it. And having to weigh out the fact that I only had about 11 balls to do this little clinic with, it was imperative that we don't lose anymore. So here I am. Yeah, they were just having a great time. For those of you thinking out there, why aren't these kids in class? It was the last day before the break, and they do their midterms like most places that week. And all of these kids had attended all the whole week, taken all their classes, and didn't need to take any more tests. So the only kids that needed to be in class were the ones who had missed any tests, and that's why these kids were all out here hanging out and having a great time that last day before the break. So that was a lot of fun. I can forward a little bit further, and this young lady, I don't remember her name, but she was what was her name? Alondra. And it took me a second to remember that, but we have a family member with that name here. And she was a volleyball. Oh, I busted my ass there. And all these kids got a great laugh at it. And I'm glad they did, because it broke a lot of tension at the moment. Some high school kids had come around, and these kids all got to feeling squirrely. And, they had a great time. I'm telling you, I was so paranoid we were going to break those glass windows. And then a teacher, while I had the goal pulled out, drove between us and parked their car right there, which is that car you see there, that we're trying so hard not to dent or break a window for. I don't understand why you would see kids doing this kind of activity and just figure you should park right next to them. That's just not right. So that was a lot of fun. I want to say thank you once again to Somos del Carmen. That was an experience I won't soon forget, and one I hope to do again very soon. And, that was a lot of fun. There's not a whole lot of ways to describe it, so I won't try to beat that dead horse. In other news, if you are looking to get married, sponsorship time, please contact Mermaid Beach Weddings. We have on the website of ours, we have our sponsors tab, and this will take you to their website. They have some new packages available now, and they are doing really well. They were nominated for the Knot's Best Wedding Company by the Knot, which is a wedding coordinating website. And they have a lot of different packages going to a variety of price ranges that you can hit. And, just go ahead and let them know that Sal sent you. They do have a promo code on their contact page, and that's the easy way to get there. And if you are having some issues, with your credit, you can now visit a1credit.us, and they also have a contact form. Let them know that Sal sent you over there, or the Perception Therapy podcast. And So they do a lot of things to help you get your credit cleaned up. They work with your collections, charge-offs, judgments, liens. I've spoken about it before. I was in the loans and collections industry for a little while with City Financial, and I can tell you that there are a lot of companies out there looking to scam you, and this is definitely not one of them. I have actually seen the results that he has had for different companies. I'm sorry, not companies, different people that I, worked with. I've sent a lot of referrals his way, and they've all come back to say a lot of great things. So please reach out to them for a consultation. They are also on the salvatech.com sponsors tab website. There's a click-through link there that you can start that process to get your credit cleaned up. So other than that, not much else going on. Building a couple more apps. So if you need an application for either Android or iOS, please don't hesitate to fill out the contact form on the salvatech.com contact page, and I will get with you and we can design something that meets your needs. All right. And other than that, I guess that'll be calling it a day here. We're going to cut this one short, and we will be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern time with Ace from Lotus Club Miami, a jiu-jitsu school down in South Florida. And we'll go for a little bit more of what he wanted to talk about today. Otherwise, people, I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year once again for like the 5th time here. But I can't stress it enough. Let's all do good things this year, and don't hurt anybody, damn it. Sorry, just keep my eye on something that's on the stove, and everyone else, take care.